Alright guys, if you're new, click the like button and subscribe for more, but let's go ahead and get it started.
Uncle C, back in the office, and in today's video I'm going to be outlining the top 10 traits that all stoic men have that 99% of other men today in society do not have. Now, not only am I giving these top 10 traits that I feel are typically the best things that one man can harness.
Okay, let's start. Take two. Alright guys, if you're new to the channel, please click the like button and subscribe. Anyway, let's get it started.
Uncle C, back in the office, and in today's video I'm going to be outlining the top 10 traits that all stoic men have that 99% of other men today in society do not have. Now, not only am I giving these top 10 traits that I feel are typically the best things that one man can harness, but what I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be salt and peppering. I'm going to be layering in my own examples and my own representations of how I've actually intertwined a lot of these into my life. So stay with me until the end of this video, because at the end of this video I'm going to be showing you specifically how you can use masculine behavioral therapy, a brand new mechanism to essentially propel your dating life forward and take care of all of these issues once and for all. But moving on, what are these 10 traits? How do I interject them into my life? And how can you actually start to look at the world as a different man than what most men are doing? The very first and most important tip that I think all men need to understand about Stoicism is that you have to only focus on what you can control. Okay, what you can control is absolutely huge. Because, if you take the example right now with the epidemic of what's going on, as the world panics, you have to still control your own space. And see, if everybody took responsibility and made sure that their life was in check, what would happen is that the world as unity would come together and men would be strong again. If you have that responsibility and you actually focus on what you can control, what is within your own household, what is within your own finances, what is within your own skill set that you can manifest, it becomes a whole lot easier to cut through all of the BS that most are going to be running into. This is ridiculously crucial. When you actually understand what you control, it starts by just simple journaling. Okay, as you can journal out your day, journal your to-do list. Make sure that before your head hits the pillow at night, everything is checked off. And when you start to lay that foundation, you start to become a man that's actually now in control of the things that most are not. And when you have that control, it's a different level of rock solid strength that most do not have. Just simple things, control when you're going to do each task, control when you're going to wake up, control when you're going to go to bed, control the top 5 things that you're going to do to propel your finances forward even when the world panics. You're self-sufficient, extremely important. The second, if men would start to understand that what feels good is not good for you, you see, they could have true joy in their life and not be necessarily reliant on pleasure. When you're a man and you pursue the lower level gratifications, the lower pleasures, the lower indulgences, the feel good moments, could be sex, could be binge drinking, could be recreational drugs. What feels good is not good for you. I'm going to say that one more time. What feels good is not necessarily good for you. As a man can start to find joy in his life, what he's going to realize is that he becomes a man who has lots of wisdom. You see, because in my time, in this short time that I've had on earth, I've met a lot of people. I've coached a lot of men. I've seen a lot of different age categories. To date, between dating, coaching, I've coached over 500 to 600 men total. I've seen different personalities, and in that time, I've met really, really smart 16-year-olds, and I've met really stupid 60-year-olds. Wisdom can come at any age. Success can come at any age. And when a man learns how to manifest, he understands that these pleasures that feel good in the moment will not propel his life forward. Ridiculously crucial. Starts to separate the men from the boys.
Yeah, that makes sense in some way. Those feel good in a moment to be like drugs and alcohol. or even small, you know, self guilt or whatever what girls call these days. Like eating junk food or movies, that will count. The idea is, getting the dopamine effect using by immediate gratification. But let's see what else you got.
The third, when you are stoic, you will understand that anxiety is a choice. It is a choice to be anxious. It is a choice to feel that anxiety. Why is it a choice? Well, the reason for that is because if you stress out, if you become an anxious man, you're no longer in control of the situation. What you're letting happen is you're letting your world panics, your environment, the environment that you're in is dictating your mental well-being and emotional state. And this is why oftentimes men have so many issues layered on top of each other. It's like they think they have dating issues, but in reality they have so many different personal issues, so many different mental flaws that has to be made up for. And what do most do to cope with this? Medication, drugs, quick thrills to quickly alleviate the pain to get out of their head. When in reality, if they understood how they can actually be in control, everything would start to be different. Now, when a man is actually in control, this anxiety tends to dissipate. The reason for that is because you understand that you can actually perform under pressure. If you can perform under pressure, it does not matter what's going on in the world because you control your own space. The fourth stoic trait that is ridiculously important to understand is aimless dating, aimless hookups, aimless person to person throughout your 20s, throughout your early 30s like this will equal an aimless man. Now, when you have a man who's dating aimlessly, you once again have a man that is now pursuing pleasure and not necessarily finding joy and finding wisdom. Why is this? Because he's letting the gratification or the ego of, manifesting that sexy woman or the visualization of what he thinks this woman will do for him, he's letting that indulge in his own pleasures. Notice, every single one of these is involving the emotional standpoint of the man. In no way, shape, or form is he in logical control. Is he in rational decision making? When he chooses to be in rational decision making, the whole world is now his oyster. It's like all of the things that before were so scattered, so scarcity mindset, so, bouncing from thing to thing, he now has ridiculous clarity, ridiculous control. And it starts by putting in the work. It starts by actually journaling what you want. It starts by laying out your day. It starts by becoming a militant, dedicated man who takes action. And when you take action, you're going to see the flaws. When you see those flaws, you understand what can be done to actually rearrange them and start turning them into positives. Aimless dating will equal an aimless man. This is a man who's spilling his seed left and right with any woman. This is a man who does not necessarily know what he wants in a partner. And not only that, he thinks that his lack of game is the reason why he has lack of abundance of women, lack of options. Couldn't be further from the truth. It's because the life is not necessarily in order. Number 5, the fifth most important stoic decision that a man can make is to understand that statistics have to come over opinions at all times. The reason for this is because when a man does not put the statistics over the opinions, he always is in the mode of, I feel like. Let me explain to you what I mean. I'm currently coaching a man in my Blueprint inner circle group. He's currently learning the masculine behavioral therapy techniques. And I noticed when he was trying to get a hold on his fitness, he just could not understand that the statistics of documentation is ridiculously crucial. He would say things like, well, when I go into the gym and I do my vertical push day, he goes, I feel like I did enough exercises. I feel like I was sore enough. And you can't operate like that. You can't operate like that. You have to have tracked progression. You have to say, hey, if I hit a heavy overhead shoulder press with 135 pounds on the barbell for 5 sets of 5, I'm going to document that, and next week it's going to be 5 sets of 5 at 140. And if I hit that, next week after that, it's going to be 145 pounds for 5 sets of 5. Every single thing is documented because you're going through statistics and not opinions. Another thing, when men often try to diet what they say is they go, well, I feel like I'm eating less. I feel like I'm losing weight. But the problem is they never step on the scale. And not only that, they never track their macros. How do you expect to lower the body fat, look more masculine, build the physique if you're not actually documenting? For example, I started my cut for summer roughly about 10 to 12 days ago. As you see, every morning I hop on the scale. I hop on the scale instantly, fasted. I document the weights every morning. And what happens is over the course of 60 to 90 days, I get in ridiculously good condition. Why? Because I can see what I was the day before. We're not guesstimating if fat loss is happening.
I feel like that's a good idea. And surprising. I do the same thing. I got a whole journal right here. And, I don't think you can clearly see, but I'll be going hard too, but it's great to see we have things in common. I mean, this type of knowledge doesn't come off new to me. I feel like it is a low value. I won't say it's a low value. I can't underestimate. Most people have no idea about it. But I'll say it's reassuring or it's great to remind yourself like, yeah, you're on the right track by watching such videos. But definitely it's a good idea to always keep track. Because by keeping track, you're able to see how far you've gone, progress. And I think that will boost your confidence and self-esteem.
We can see it happen. When a man prioritizes statistics, he can now understand that the only man he's competing against is the man that he was the day before.
Yeah.
There is no longer a competition. There is no longer worrying about who he is compared to the rest of the world as the rest of the world panics. He has control over his own space. These small crucial things add up. Because when you do this, it brings me to the 6th point of Stoicism, which is it becomes a privilege to endure pain. See, this is what happens when today's men in today's society indulge in this push-button atmosphere. Anything that is painful, anything that is fearful, what they try to do instead of tackling that fear head-on, realizing like this is a scary situation, this is a situation where I might have to grab my nuts and perform, they try to use a mechanism or they try to use something of avoidance. And when you have avoidance in your life, you're not actually enduring any pain. It's a privilege to endure. It's a privilege to feel. It's a privilege to sacrifice to actually grow stronger. But when a man neglects the work, it goes so much deeper than the things he loses. He actually starts to not be the man who he could have been. And these realizations add up if he chooses the path of a stoic man. The 7th, every time we choose the road of safety, every time we pick the safe bet, the safe option, you have to understand that we risk the loss of freedom. Think about it. Think rules and regulations. Every single time we make something safer, we make something mandatory. We tell ourselves, this is how it has to be to make sure my life is safe. We lose our freedom. We lose our touch of masculinity. We lose our ability to tackle the world head on. And every single time people scream, hey, help us, make us safer, make sure this world is more sugar-coated, we lose more freedom. And slowly and slowly and slowly, over the course of months, over the course of years, over the course of decades, the world that was once wild and masculine and animalistic and everything that it could have been, should have been, to keep men great. Now what happens is we're under rules and regulations. We're under policies. We're under social circumstances that don't necessarily let us flourish and be men. I think that a man needs to really look in the mirror and say, hey, do I want the safe life? Do I want the safe bet? Even if you look at something more basic, look at the jobs. If a man picks the safe bet, the safe job, the safe employment route, he loses the freedom to potentially be financially free, to potentially make more, to potentially be a man of more value. This comes from increasing skill set as well, but we can only tackle one piece of this at a time. Number 8, you have to understand that nobody cares. Not one person cares. And this is what happens today when you have men screaming, I need people to care. I need somebody to look at my situation too. I'm held back. I'm not treated fairly. Nobody gives a shit. And they can tell you they give a shit, but unless they're actually putting in the work for you, which is impossible, your current situation will not change. You need action. If you say, oh, I have no motivation, have sympathy for me, I can't get in shape, at the end of the day, you are still fat. If you say, oh, have sympathy for me, figure out another policy, another way to make my life safer so I can collect more money, so I can, please help me figure out this method. Nobody cares, because when you go to bed at night, you are still broke. And when you're broke, it is not fun. Nobody cares. The day that you accept ownership is the day that you can actually bring yourself to number 9 and be calm in chaos. Because you have to understand, responsibility is the only way to manifest. You have to be responsible for your own space. And if every single man in the world took ownership and took responsibility of saying, hey, I'm in control of what I can control, and every single day when I wake up until the moment I go to bed, I'm going to be putting in the steps that will propel my life forward, what's going to happen is that he does not have to rely on others. Now, if every man took this exact approach of being calm in chaos, we would now have a great way of being, due to the fact that nobody is necessarily responsible of one another. The 10th Stoic trait, I had to say this, I had to bring this into comparison, and that is the fact that if you have women issues, you do not have women issues. You have personal issues that reflect in your dating life. It is what it is. You have so many emotional men today. She broke my heart. She pulled back. She didn't text back. You got to understand, if women are your biggest issues day to day, you need bigger issues as a man. And if you do not, you're going to keep getting hit with these exact same issues that 99% of men are running into. If you look at what 99% of men are running into, they are fat, they are broke, they are depressed, and they have no guidance. And because of that, they cannot flourish, they cannot manifest. Fellas, if you like this video, I want you to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.
Well, that's surprising. You saw what he said. He surely spoke in volume when he mentioned that the key is that if you have women issue, you have personal issues reflecting in your dating life. And also, he knows better that he did know that we need bigger issues than having women issues. That really stood out. So a lot of information to take in. I hope some of you guys take notes if you need to this. But it is, eye-awakening. Thank you. Alright, guys. I'll see you on the next one if you liked it. Peace.